Moving on to Division 2, and I suppose we'll start with the action from Croke Park yesterday. It was Dublin 16 points clear, 1-12. As I was saying to you off air, like I did go to the game. I got there about 20 minutes late just because I was watching the Kerry-Armagh match, and it was sort of late notice in the end going to the match. But yeah, like to be honest, a very abysmal performance really from Dublin once again. Another performance that has lacked any energy, any idea, any creativity defensively, wide open, even though we're trying to play hugely defensive, which at times was baffling. Like there was times in that game where we'd every man inside our own 45, but we were 5 points down. And Clare, like they could have really put the nail in our coffin. Like Gavin Cooney gets a goal right before half time. They kick on in the second half with a couple more points. Emmett McMahon, I thought a very, very good game. And even, Clare's last point was actually a chance for a goal that blazed over the bar. And if that goes in, Clare 8 points clear with about 10 minutes to go. And for me, there would have been no way back in my opinion. There has been a few comments coming in here that I'll just read out in relation to the game. Derek says, don't panic completely about the Dubs. Yeah, talking camp, heavy training has not fully got underway. They will be thereabouts in the summer. It's all about timing. I do agree to a certain extent, like with the fact that I do think we'll be thereabouts and we will improve. But I think at the same time, like we're playing Clare, who, like in fairness, have done very well. And look, they've been competitive in Division 2 for a number of years. They fought very, very well, and they're always a sticky team to beat. But I just think the lack of idea and energy, and Clare missed chances. Like Clare could have beaten us quite comfortably in the end. And I just think from a Dublin perspective, like you play with 4 too much, you'll get punished. And, against Cork, Kildare and Clare, we could have easily, lost those games. Dublin could have been in a relegation battle in Division 2. Like, and we're talking about Dublin, the capital of Ireland, the team that has, or the county that has, so much population, so much resources, as everyone has said previously. And we, no word of a lie, if we had lost 1 or 2 games, especially with the fact that we play Louth on the final day, we could have ended up in the Tailteann Cup. You know what I mean? Like, and that's talk about one of the biggest embarrassments in GAA history. Now, I know we ended up getting the wins in the end, and promotion is probably likely to happen, but I don't know. Like, I think last year there was a lot of messing around, and it just seems to be the same this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's worrying signs when there's rants going around camp and you've won 4 games out of 4. So yeah, but I suppose that's down to the quality the Dublin had in the recent seasons. Like, who would have thought you'd go from winning 6 in a row Sam Maguire titles to struggle against Kildare, Cork, and Clare, and lose to Kildare last season as well. I mean, it's a steady decline from this Dublin team. And what I was I obviously didn't watch the match because it wasn't televised last night, but what I was hearing from yourself and another Clare fan that I know as well, very well, was that Clare had a few refereeing decisions go against them, and that was the big thing as well. And to think about it, Clare now, it's switching the attention now to Clare for a minute, because I think Aaron, you said all you need to say about Dublin's demise there, but about Clare, the last 2 games they've been kind of robbed by referees in recent weeks. Look, you look at the Emma McMahon decision against Kildare and now last night. I mean, how unlucky can you get, really? And now they're in the bottom 2. I stand to be corrected on that. I think they're in the bottom 2 due to head-to-head with Kildare, but that's pretty unlucky for Clare. Really, really unlucky. And when you look at their next few games, the Cork game now for Clare is so, so crucial, because the next game they have after that is Derry, away from home in Owenbeg. I don't see Clare getting anything out of that, to be honest with you, looking at Derry's form. So Cork is a huge, huge game now for them in Ennis. There's huge pressure on this Clare team now, despite performing admirably. Like Gavin Cooney scoring 1-2 last night was brilliant. Owen Cleary had a brilliant performance. I was hearing Emma McMahon made Croke Park his own last night. I was hearing, like, there was brilliant performances all over the field, and they really bossed Dublin. What I was hearing anyway, and you wouldn't have said that about Clare team a few years back. It's an incredible rise, and there's still quality coming out of Clare. And it's very good, and Colin Collins deserves absolute credit for even challenging with Dublin last night. A lot of people were saying on podcasts, your podcast, my own podcast, we were saying Clare have no chance. It's about how Dublin, approach this game in a way. And we weren't rating Clare to win this game. And it's a huge credit to Clare that they were winning within a point of Dublin. They were 6 points up. It's incredible, really, when you think about it. And it was an incredible performance by Clare last night. But from your point of view, from a Dublin point of view, I'd say there's going to be a lot of soul searching. Like Derry's next now, that's a huge game for you next week. Like if he get a hammering off Derry in the Celtic Park next week, maybe that's the reality check, the kick up the backside that these Dublin footballers need in a way.
Yeah, Derek also says here we had a surreal team with Jim Gavin. This is finding new talent and integration into the team and panel. And yeah, like there is a few new lads coming in, like Lee Gannon, and obviously getting Jack McCaffrey back as well. But like when you look at the team that Dublin played against Clare, like it's probably not too far off Dublin's team that's actually going to be competing in the All-Ireland. Or let's say, Dublin are playing Kerry in the All-Ireland. Like this will be more or less the side. Like they had Dean Rock there, they had Con O'Callaghan, Kieran Kilkenny played. You Brian Fenton who played around midfield. James McCarthy was there. Fair enough, we'll likely have Paul Mannion to return at some point. Although again, another game has gone by without him playing, which in some ways is a little bit worrying because you're wondering like when is he going to play? Obviously Cormac Costello came on at half time. Made a bit of an impact. Owen Merchant came on towards the end of the match, but generally speaking, like it was more or less Dublin's strongest team that's available to them. Like obviously when McCaffrey gets fully fit and fully back into the side, you'd imagine he'd start. Owen Merchant and Costello will probably be starters, and Paul Mannion will probably be a starter. But generally speaking, the spine of the team is there, and like it's not even like the fact we only beat Clare by a point. It's just the lack of energy, the lack of urgency, the fact that we've got every man inside around 45 playing super defensive without achieving that. Like, we were 4 or 5 points down, and it was just like what really tipped the game was I think Dublin kicked 1 or 2 points. The crowd got up. We won a couple of kickouts. I think a row broke out and a few yellows were dished out, and the fans just got up for it. And I think Dublin just sort of, boiled up for it from there. So, but yeah.
If you said that a few seasons ago, that would be the reason you'd beat Clare. I'd imagine, Aaron, you'd be an embarrassed Dublin fan. No disrespect now to Clare, no disrespect at all. But like, it's a question of how far back can you go, really? Like, even looking at the team last night, I know you played defensively with a load of men behind the ball, but even looking at your team last night, I know he had a load of talent and all that, but what I noticed, David Byrne was playing a wing forward as sort of a sweeper against Clare. Why? Seriously, why? Like, even the Cork game last week, like I said on the live stream on your channel last week, why are Dublin being so defensive against a team like Cork that has struggled in the past few seasons? And again, against Kildare, why is there need for it? And like, you tried it once against Kildare, didn't work, so don't do it again. You've done it twice more. It's the fact you don't know really, but maybe we'll see a different Dublin next week. Maybe it's just a maybe. But we said it after the Cork game that you'll turn up for the Derry game now. But look at that performance now last night. I don't know where a performance is going to come out of, to be honest with you. Like, I know Galway stuck 4 goals past Derry last year, and it was a defining moment in the promotion race. But to be honest, if we're both being real, I don't think Dublin are scoring 4 goals against Derry. Look at their performances so far. Let's be honest here. Paul Mannion, look, I'd say he'll come back in the team and definitely improve it. Dean Rock isn't offering enough from play. I know he's one of the top scorers in the top 2 divisions, but again, it's mostly frees. Con, even last night, he only scored a point. So to me, look at Scorpio, he looked anonymous. Kieran Kilkenny, again, we talked about Kieran Kilkenny last week. He doesn't seem to be having any influence, does he, on this Dublin team this season? So it's it's really, but even Ross McGarry coming off at half time scoring nothing. Like, I looked at Ross McGarry last year thinking, oh, there's a player there. Larkin O'Dell, there's a player. They don't seem to be hitting the lights out. So I don't know what is up with the Dublin side at the moment. Like, you need a Jack McCaffrey to come on and juice the crowd up, a bit of a brawl breaking out that jizzes the crowd up a small bit. And if you need those sort of elements to beat a team who, I know Clare made strides on Colin Collins and fair play to them, but Derry stuck 5 goals past them in Croke Park last season. You know? So it kind of shows, like I think Seamus actually mentioned on my podcast that exact game. And Dublin need to be, beating Clare quite comfortably if they're going to be challenging for All-Ireland titles. And it didn't seem that way last night. So, yeah, I know a lot of people would say you're panicking, but honestly, I could see your panic and your frustration in this Dublin team. Look at the results anyway.